First off, what's the difference between a juxtamedullary nephron and a cortical nephron?
So the first one, that's renin, right? Where it's renin secreted?
Those are going to secrete renin. So the main difference is they go deeper into the medulla. I don't know, I think juxtamedullary just sounds to me like we're thrusting it down into the medulla. It's going deeper into the medulla. Whereas cortical isn't as deep, it stays more towards the cortex. So the juxtamedullary nephrons are actually, the deeper we go, the more concentrated we get, right? So they actually reabsorb a little bit better than the cortical nephrons do, just because they go deeper. But they are the ones that are responsible for producing renin, which kind of makes sense, because what pressures are key to filtration? What actually causes filtrate to leave the glomerulus and go into the Bowman's capsule?
Is it solute concentration or osmotic pressure?
Osmotic pressure actually is going to be working against it because of all the proteins in the cells in the blood. Water is actually going to want to move towards the blood osmotically.
Blood pressure?
Blood pressure. So the afferent arteriole going in is a lot bigger than the efferent coming out. So pressure builds up right there. And there's a pretty good amount of pressure that pushes that filtrate through. So if we don't have enough pressure, filtration doesn't happen and our kidneys don't work. And you die, in short. So it makes sense that these juxtamedullary cells, right, that are right here at the beginning of the glomerulus, they're measuring blood pressure. If blood pressure is too low, they secrete renin, which would make sense because we need a lot of blood pressure there. So if they feel like, I don't have enough blood pressure, renin gets released. Everybody good with that? So renin gets released right into the blood, right here. So what happens after that?
Angiotensinogen is released from the liver.
Yeah, so angiotensinogen, so the liver's always making it. So it's just floating around in the blood. So as soon as renin gets released, it combines with the angiotensinogen, and we get what?
Angiotensin-1.
Good, and then what happens?
And then the ACE enzyme from the lungs converts angiotensin-1 to angiotensin-2.
Good, so the angiotensin-1 circulates, gets to the lungs, gets converted. Now I have angiotensin-2. Then what does angiotensin-2 do?
Aldosterone?
It causes vasoconstriction in the blood vessels, and then it goes up to the adrenal cortex and releases aldosterone.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so aldosterone gets released from the adrenal cortex. Then what does aldosterone do? What's the overall goal of aldosterone?
To reabsorb sodium, water.
So to reabsorb more water is our goal, and we do it by reabsorbing more sodium, and water follows sodium, right?
Yes.
So, how do we reabsorb more sodium? How does aldosterone do that? Is it water soluble or lipid soluble?
Lipid soluble.
Which means
It's going to make new proteins.
it's going to make new proteins. So, what type of new proteins are we going to make?
Sodium transport.
Sodium channels. Good. 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 So we're going to make new sodium transport proteins. Okay, and where are those proteins going to be put?
In the membrane.
In the membrane. On what part of the nephron? I actually just had to cheat and make sure I was not about to teach false doctrine. Which part of the nephron?
Lumen? No, that's inside.
Well, the lumen, yeah. So it's going to be.
Descending? Is it the distal tubule?
It is. You are on one today. It is a distal convoluted tubule. So we put more. How many this. It's starting to get a little too jumbled. So we put more sodium channels here. And I didn't really draw that right, but we put more sodium channels. So the sodium goes into the blood and water follows it, which increases our blood volume. That, along with the vasoconstriction that we did, increases our blood pressure.